On October 11th, we got to see a live stream of developers playing with the new terrain manipulation tools that will be free for all players. These will likely be available sometime in November near the release of the Get Famous expansion, so look for future announcements. A free career also comes with this, but this livestream was focused only on terrain. We'll see more of Stylist later. I've cut out a lot of this stream to summarize the features that you can expect. All new terrain modification features will be found under the new Terrain Tools button in build mode, replacing the terrain paint area. The most basic thing we'll be able to do is raise and lower terrain. Entire lots can be flattened, but you can also smooth terrain. The grid shown in terrain editing mode is different from the usual grid. It shows you what land is flat. Size along with speed and softness sliders exist, so you can raise quickly or extremely slowly in a small or large area. A flatten lot button exists to let you start over. The lines on the sides of raised or lowered terrain, along with the grid you see, are all topology visualizers. The grids tell you what is flat. Certain objects require a flat surface, particularly those with a large footprint and those that Sims will interact with. Decorative objects like plants can be placed on hills that aren't super steep, although you can get around this with the Move Objects cheat. The stair step patterns on the sides of hills can show you where you'll need stairs, as if they are present, Sims will not be able to walk up that hill. They can also be used to let you level terrain to a specific height. When using Flatten to Height, the tool will snap to topology lines so you can create levels with a specific height to make sure things connect without any incline. Check this out, you can use bracket hotkeys to move the flatten tool in increments, which again will help you achieve a specific height. Now, when you flatten areas across from one another, they will be the same height. For example, if you've made a canyon. This lets you be sure two segments of land across from one another will line up correctly. Now, let's look at how the blocks that make up houses interact with all of this. First, there's a new way of adjusting foundations, no more slider. When you click on a block, you can select the central gizmo and pull the block to the foundation height you desire. Foundations can go really high, and of course with this new means of adjusting, different blocks that are not connected or considered as one can have entirely separate foundation heights. Blocks that are of the same height will highlight to help you make sure they match. Attached blocks become a cluster, and a cluster both attaches seamlessly and shares a foundation. Foundations of different heights cannot connect. For now, this means that true split level is not yet possible, though it was stated it's something they'd like to do in the future. Blocks that will be affected by a change will highlight when you hover over the wall tool so you can see what will be changed beforehand. Now we'll look at how rooms and foundations interact with the terrain you've raised and lowered. Foundations are created automatically to accommodate terrain. Non-destructive terrain editing means that blocks will fit neatly into terrain, so any terrain you sculpted is safe and will conform around the building you create. This means you won't have to re-sculpt terrain if you mess up. Terrain can swell up around a building without destroying that building as well. You cannot yet make a hill go completely over a house, so no above ground houses built into the side of a mountain or perfect hobbit holes. Clever builders may find a way around this with roofs or basements. It is something they're interested in doing in the future, but they emphasized several times during this live stream that they wanted to get the patch in our hands. You can now build a total of 4 basement levels. Basements will not modify terrain unless they have to. If the basement is well inside a hill, nothing will change. If it will stick outside, the hill will move outward and surround the basement. Pools function like above ground blocks and will cut out a side of the terrain, though you can raise and lower them. You must have a flat side near the pool for it to be usable. Fountains function more like basements and will pull terrain up when they're raised, as they do not get foundations. Now, with all these hills and raised areas, how are we going to get around? Stairs, of course. Stairs are a big part of this, and they've apparently done a very thorough job making sure you'll be able to help Sims access the areas you build. Stairs are really important because they make all this hilliness routable for Sims. They have no way to get anywhere without them. Hills can be far too steep. The stair tool will automatically connect levels for you. If the stairs would be inaccessible, a small piece of land will be raised to the correct area to allow Sims to access the stairs. Holding control while using the stair tool, it will actually look downward for a connection spot. At this point, the live stream began to go over things a bit more randomly based on question people asked in Twitch chat, so it'll be a bunch of random facts. They also demonstrated a few builds. Glass Heights, made by Sim Guru Romeo, shows usage of terrain blocks that allow Sims to route up the hill. By using flattened terrain strategically, he didn't make such an incline here that Sims can't actually walk up the hill. Another shows a garage with different foundation height and down a hill. Guest houses, garages, greenhouses, and workshops can be separate from the main house and at a different elevation with a completely different foundation. The final house showed off some of the Get Famous build assets with a nice fence running up a hill. Fences conform to terrain very nicely. Super slick. Fences can exist as yard fences or block fences depending if the first block you place it on is on terrain or not. If the fence starts in a yard, it will conform to the terrain. If it starts connected to a porch, it'll be more like a block type fence. Now to share some of the answers to questions. They are interested in a pond tool, but it's not yet supported. Painting the sides of hills isn't possible yet, but it's a thing they want to do if they can. You're able to tell if a sim can route on a hill or not. It's 46 degrees is specifically the limitation. The appearance of those lines on the sides of a hill will show you if it's too much of an incline. Snow from the Seasons expansion works and will conform to terrain, though this wasn't demonstrated. There are two classes of objects. Objects that require flat space and those that don't. Decorative items like plants and trees do not require flat terrain, so you can easily decorate the landscape you've created. There's a lot more flexibility, though you cannot place them on hills that are far too steep without the move objects cheat. They look stupid anyway. Roofs do not interfere with terrain, so it counts just like a normal room. It looks like it would be possible to get creative and build something into the side of a hill with a roof as a base. That's about everything we learned summarized in about 7 minutes. Not bad, given it was an hour live stream. I appreciate your time and thank you for watching. Subscribe if you'd like to see more. We have a Patreon if you want to support my project, and I'll see you next time. There's going to be like 3 more of these before the release of the patch and expansion.